manifestation. Record, and then I'll go live here. Takes a minute. Oh, let me write in. Get my myself. So let's see. Intuition, motherhood, and manifestation. T-I, is it 2 L's? S-T-O-N. Cool. All right, I just had to type in the title. Okay, share on your timeline, probably, okay. So there's always like a lag when you do Facebook.
That's good to know. I've not done it yet myself.
Yeah, like if you record it on Zoom, like it won't say that it's live, but it will start the video on Facebook. So it's kind of funny how it does that. But anyway, okay, so I'm pushing live now.
Okay.
And all right, it's preparing. Okay. All right. Okay, I think we're good to go. So hello, everyone. Jennifer and I are doing a live chat today about motherhood, intuition, and manifestation because we met recently and we had this really amazing discussion about how our intuitions just like blossomed after beginning our motherhood journey. And Jennifer has a 1-year-old, and I have my littlest one here, my 4th one. So yeah, it's a beautiful conversation, and I'm glad to invite you in. Jennifer, you want to take a minute just to share about who you are and then your journey?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so I've always been really intuitive as a kid, and into adulthood it was on and off, but right when motherhood hit, it really landed really loud for me. And I noticed before I had given birth to my daughter, I was doing a little bit of things and I knew, okay, I'm going to do a certain thing with my motherhood when it came to co-sleeping or doing different things. And then as soon as she got here, this intuitive side to me just, I don't even know how to describe it, but your instincts kicked in. And I landed in this mother journey and I realized my intuition was speaking to me in a way that was really powerful on how to mother without, you know, you're kind of taught to lean into the books or lean into just asking questions and asking guidance. You want to lean on your village and ask for all that support, but something inside of me was like, no, you need to do motherhood in a way that is about trusting myself and what my intuition was asking me to do. And it's been going against the grain. It's been very different, but it's been so beautiful because it unlocks another layer with my intuition where it's louder, I sense it more, and it's just so beautiful. And I think when you get to become a mother, it's just inviting that in more, your intuition and trusting it. So hopefully that gives a little bit of perspective of that for you. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So he's falling asleep, so he's like groaning right now. So I'm curious, like, is there a time before you were a mother where you could like see how your intuition was working and that you could compare like just a little snippet scenario of each of those times?
Yeah, I had more of always these gut responses with my intuition. I would kind of feel a response in my body of yes, no. And I'm very connected. I can get visions or sense things. So I want to just say, like, I would get these little knowings to, I'll keep it basic. Like if it was like take direction left or right, I would know intuitively to go left. But then when motherhood arrived, it was like my visions enhanced, my sensations in the gut knowings were really loud. Like I could feel it almost move me in a way. And then just this knowing I get, sometimes I get those inklings of a voice to it's all the time. Like the other day with my daughter, we were outside, she was inside. I don't use a video camera. We were out at our lake house and something inside me was like, go check on her. And sure enough, when I went, she was ready. She was sitting up, ready to go. And that to me is that intuitive instinct of just trusting without having that camera and all that extra help that's available. So that's just how it's grown for me. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I get that. I think that's like a really good scenario where it's like that moment when you're like, just check on your kid, like go check on them.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that experience a lot too. And like, especially when they're small and when they're sleeping, it's like you're wondering if they're gonna wake up. And there's moments where it's like, no, they're probably still sleeping. And then moments where it's like, oh no, definitely
Mm-hmm.
I need to check on them. And for me, I feel it in my body. Like I don't always have images, but it's just that like deeper voice and like
Yeah.
kind of pull um, that makes me like keep thinking about them, and until like I follow through with it. Um, yeah, another thing that came to my mind with that is like the the stand that we take as mothers of how we want to
Mm-hmm.
raise our kids. Um, this is also, I think, can come up as a felt sense. So, like, if
Yeah.
you were making a decision on, like, say, how to sleep with your child, like, how do you experience that feeling in your body of, what your decision was and what the right one
Yeah.
was?
I just um I had this kind of I want to say this powerful maternal instinct to do it that way. But I wouldn't have known what it was until I entered motherhood. But because at the beginning, like I did the nesting, I had a crib, I had a bassinet, and I think within the first 2 weeks, I was like, I don't resonate with this. This isn't for me. And I know I had a lot of pushback when I was, you know, near the last part of my pregnancy, started to understand co-sleeping, and I kind of felt like that was for me, but I didn't understand if I would do it or not because I was doing things a different way. And then something inside of me one night was like, just bring her to your bed. And then she never left. I just decided to co-sleep with her, and I listened to that instinct and knowing I had, and then it just changed, and I ended up getting rid of the crib and everything, and just
Mm,
led. I was like, okay, I feel this. This is what feels right for me, and I'm just gonna do it. So that's kind of how it
yeah.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I that it's a really useful distinction that you made of like this just doesn't feel right. Because sometimes like if we are following our inner guidance in any decision, like with
Mm-hmm.
our job, our work, or where to live, or parenting, um, there's we don't always like know the exact right answer immediately.
Mm-hmm.
um, but when we're open and aware to this, something doesn't feel quite right, that
Mm-hmm.
can then like spur us to start looking for somewhere else. So I like that because it's
Yeah.
like the opposite side of where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like you know what to do and you follow it because you just receive guidance, but it can also be the other way around where it's like
Yeah.
something's not quite right, and you can use that to then like spur you into
Mm-hmm.
searching for something different. And oftentimes once you do that, like you'll find something that like piques your interest, and then you just keep going, and
Yeah.
eventually are able to arrive at a decision that feels right. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
there is this important aspect of like anytime you're following inner guidance, is there will likely be that conflict with
Yes.
what's coming from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you manage, or what do you do about that when you feel that conflicting message between intuition and what everyone else is doing?
I have to sit with myself sometimes because I kind of weave. Like there's moments where it catches me and I go against my inner wisdom, and I can feel the friction of when I do that. I go, oh, I went against
Mm,
what was calling me, and I really feel it in my body. And then I have to tell myself that I'm probably programming old conditioning beliefs or what society's putting all this pressure. And I can understand too, then that's my logical side of me really wanting to come in and kind of make it safe for, it thinks it wants to be safe that way. Yeah, but my wisdom knows, no, this is the way. And then once I do that and I kind of ground myself, I feel that freedom. I feel this release in me that I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path.
Mm,
You just anchor into some peace is what I want to say. But when the noise is really loud, I kind of like, yeah, I come back to within to go, okay,
mhm,
what's my real truth here? Because you can get caught up in the noise, or you have a friend or a mother that that this is what's working for me and my baby, and you think, okay,
mhm,
maybe I'll try it. But then all of a sudden you realize, well, wait a minute, that's actually me still going against my inner
mhm,
truths, because
mhm.
you're now taking on their energy, because you're just trying things out, right? And see how you can sometimes get lost trying to figure it all out with your own inner wisdom. But then I don't know, I just started to recognize that when I'm
Yeah.
restricted and feeling overwhelmed, I'm just going against what the guidance wants me
Mm,
to do.
yeah. 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 It can be very much like you're in your head. You're just like
Mm-hmm.
spinning in circles, thinking about
Yeah.
what the answer is, trying to figure it out. There may be some sense of
Mm-hmm.
like force, or this is how I experience
Yeah.
it, as like there could be some pressure that I'm putting on myself to like, I've got to figure this out. I've got to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And then that spinning in my head. So when I notice that, then it's like, oh wait, hold on,
Yeah.
slow down, and allow
Mm-hmm.
that answer to come from my heart. Um, yeah, that's awesome. So we wanted to shift this conversation into um, intuition, in using intuition in manifestation, and creating what you want in your life. And one thing I'd love to say at like in this transition is that when you see that you have, we'll call it a skill or a practice that you can reliably use, or that you're,
Mm-hmm.
enhancing perhaps wherever you are on your journey in one area of your life, when you see you have it in one area of your life, it's easy to then like feel what it feels like there. So if you've got this in
Mm-hmm.
motherhood and you want to use it in another part of your life and follow intuition in other parts, just know that you already know what to do. So you can
Mm-hmm.
go to your who you are as a mother and know that you already know how to do this. And it's just a matter of now applying that same practice to different decisions in different parts of your life. Um, but I wanted to share, like I like to like filter down important things to think about. And so the three important things I wanted to share when you want to use intuition in manifestation practices, and like knowing what actions to take, because first of all, manifestation is this, you want to create something in your world, um, and so you first, decide what that thing is, which is one of the things I'm going to share. But you also have to take action, right? So the intuition is really the this practice of listening to intuition is what supports you in the process of manifestation. So in the action taking part of it. So what comes though before taking the action is your connection to your desire and then your decision. So desire is something, if you read in some texts, like I'll just say The Way of Mastery is one, a spiritual text that I've read about desire. And desire is something that as humans, we are, creative beings. And what drives that creativity is our desire. And so it can be seen as this like spiritual essence that we can follow to create in the world. Um, so I kind of hold my connection with desire as something that's sacred. Um, but it's the first thing that you need to be willing to explore in the process of creating something that you want in your life, is your desire. And so after you spend some time becoming familiar with what you really want or what you desire in your life, the next thing that needs to happen is you decide. So not every desire needs to be created, but you know which one to create when you make that decision. And that decision is the thing that it I think the etymology of the word decision is to cut. So you're cutting away everything else and then focusing your energy on this one thing that you have decided to create. And when you decide, like, that's when you know that thing is yours already. So with the decision, it's yours already. And now it's just the process of following the path to bring that thing into your life. Which then, like, the next step is the embodiment aspect. And this is where you can begin playing with intuition, is when you want to actively create something in your life using intuition, the important way to access it is being embodied and already having that thing that you want. So be the person, know how it feels to be that person, know what they're thinking and doing, and like the level of excitement in their body or the level of peace. And this is the place where you can ask intuition for guidance and listen. And I think, coming back to what we talked about earlier of how when we're trying to figure things out, we're like in our head. But when we're embodied in that state of being, of already having that thing that we want, we are in our body, and it gives us access to listening to the heart, or, listening to that which is greater than us. So I just said a lot of things. I'll let you share your perspective, or if you have any feedback on those three things.
I love that. It's very in alignment with what I'll share, but I really liked how the embodiment piece, because that's that truth, I think. When you embody what you want to create and then start implementing it, the intuition just starts to guide you on those actions that are more aligned, instead of the actions that you think you need to do because you're stuck up here and you're not in the heart space. So basically what we talked about at the beginning with motherhood, just embodying it and then following the inkling along the way. Yeah. So the three ways that I love to manifest with intuition is just, I always set the intention to connect with my intuition first. Say I'm just wanting to create something new, or I'm feeling like something new needs to come in, or I get a download on a creative thought. I always like to go, okay, let's connect. Let's see what kind of comes through first. And like you said, a desire, I always like to go back to kind of my passions and what that soul piece in me that I know will just light me up. And then value, what I value. So I kind of like to correlate it all together when I'm setting what I want to bring in and manifest. And then the embodiment piece, I go into visualizing it as if it's already here, it's already happening. So I might do that with some more meditation if I can't fully connect, just so I can embody that, like you said, the feeling of it already being here. And also, so I'm doing it from a place that's from a higher sense instead of lack. Because sometimes when we want to manifest things, when we want to start an outcome, we bring that lack or the fear, and then it's not that true. You can't, I always believe, my opinion is, it kind of blocks your intuition a little bit when you have too much fear base going into manifesting. And then after, very similar to the embodiment piece, I like to follow through with a gut instinct. So it's like back to when I had said something inside of me after 2 weeks when my daughter was born, just bring her to the bed. This gut feeling of just do it. And then I notice when I listen to that, I'll get little nudges or signs. Sometimes you get synchronicity and other things. And then I wrote as well, like here in my notes, was just to call in what you desire, like what you said at the beginning, is to kind of do all that and anchor it in, and then start asking, yeah, the intuition, okay, now that I feel it and I believe it and I'm in alignment with what I truly want now, what action do I take? And then I just trust what I hear. Or if I'm journaling, what I write down. And that's how I start my whole manifesting process. And then I have stories, yeah, within moments, I'll be like, wow, I called that in. Yeah. So that's how
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I appreciate what you said about like the fear getting in the way. Like I think that's um it's an important realization
Mm-hmm.
that if you're like not hearing a message or you ask for something, um, ask for guidance or something, and it's like blank,
Mm-hmm.
it could be fear or it could be that it's not coming yet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's also where you can, like, there's those moments where you're just kind of out of your head and totally relaxed. So you could ask for something in where you're like in actual practice of like sitting down and
Mm-hmm.
meditating, asking, and it could be like you're taking a shower or you're off on a run or a
Mm-hmm.
walk in the woods, and then the answer comes to you when you're like even more in a relaxed state and not listening. And also like I'd love to just add the fear can also get in the way of seeing what you desire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to pay attention to as well. Like if you could have this um, big dream or secret dream or something that feels unreasonable or impractical,
Mm-hmm.
and so you just don't even think about it and you push it down. Um, but likely, if that thing keeps coming back up, that
Yeah.
idea keeps coming back up, listen to that as well, because that could
Mm-hmm.
be a desire for you. Um, and, just something guiding you. And when you say yes to it, like you could get synchronicities and intuition coming
Yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fear can get the best of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay that it's there too, because like we're
Yeah.
never gonna get rid of it completely, but we can learn how to be with it in a different way. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
blocking our connection to guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So this was really helpful. I love how like practical your steps were of how you manifest and then like basically call intuition in, have that intentional interaction with it. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me in your space and sharing all of this. And I will say, anyone that's new or beyond and they do know how to trust their intuition, that back to the real speaking loudly to me to share the fear piece, is that it's the logical mind that always brings the fear because it wants to
Mhm.
second guess everything. So when you get that intuitive nudge and it says, like you said, the voice gets louder and louder to do that thing, and say you pushed it away because of fear. But sometimes when we desire something, it sounds so big and beautiful, but then the logical mind will be like, yeah, right, that can't happen. Or you'll think of something maybe in your past. And I just want to say, bypass it and stay rooted and connected with your wisdom, because once you bring it into fruition and allow it to be, it's just like, yeah, everything kind of flows after it. It's not so many roadblocks is what I want to say. And it's just so beautiful. And then it'll teach you to trust more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we don't need to know how to do it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like the logical mind is like, well, I don't know how to do
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
let go of that. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And how can people find you and get in touch with you and like what do you do? How do you
Yeah. So I'm a spiritual coach and I'm mostly over on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is Luna by Jennifer, and that's where you can find me. I'm very active in that space. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you so much for being here. It was great to have this conversation with you. And I'm grateful
Hmm.
that we can, yeah, like just share our experience as mothers and as coaches
Hmm.
and how we manifest in our lives and use our intuition. And yeah, and again, if you're new to my page, my name is Kim Auker, and I am a leadership and manifestation coach for entrepreneurs. And I especially love working with mothers because, yeah, there is a beautiful power that we can access in motherhood to create the things that we desire in innovative ways, which is the other cool part about intuition is it helps us like think of these innovative ideas of how to create. But yes, thank you so much, Jennifer. I
Thank
hope you have
you.
a beautiful weekend and everybody else have a beautiful weekend.
Yes, you as well.
All right, bye-bye.